You're listening to a very special podcast. Don't forget to subscribe via iTunes or YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at verypodcast and check out our website of veryspecialpodcast.tumblr.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special podcast. This is the podcast in which we talk about all of your favorite television shows from yesteryear, and then we discuss them over a glass of wine. I'm Patrick M. Dunn. You probably remember me from the previous slew of episodes, and I'm joined here, as always, by Kat Halstead, the author.
Hey, what is up?
And in addition to tonight's episode, it also happens to be America's birthday.
Woo! America! Woo!
So we decided to get very patriotic in tonight's episode, and we did This Is America, Charlie Brown, which was a series of 8 animated specials.
Yes, it was an 8-part miniseries.
Which I thought it was just one episode.
Mm-hmm.
So when I suggested it, I didn't realize there was going to be 8 parts to it. So, luckily for you and for us, we didn't watch all 8 of them. We just watched the episode entitled The Birth of the Constitution.
Yes.
Because we figured it was the most American-y like.
Well, I mean, it's the most 4th of July-y one.
Yes, because the other episodes involve, there's one that is a NASA, involves the space station.
Yeah, there's, one about space travel, there's one about music, there's one about the Transcontinental Railroad. There's the Mayflower one, which they still air every year, but it's, highly edited.
Yeah, I believe that's the only one that actually has been re-aired over the years.
Which is a shame, because I freaking love this series. I've watched this series all the time when I was a kid, because my mom recorded it on a videotape for us.
So it didn't all air in one night. So they all aired between 1988 and 1989.
Yeah.
And I believe this episode here aired in October of 1988?
Yes, October 28th, 1988.
So you could have had this episode and The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown probably right around the same time as it.
Yeah, probably. I think CBS had The Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown back then.
I would imagine, because this was a CBS joint, and I am sure that they owned the rights to Peanuts, I guess?
I think so. Plus, I remember they also had the Garfield Halloween special, which we know very well.
Yes, one of our flagship episodes.
And so I think it was CBS owned the Garfield cartoon, or at least the rights to air it back then.
Yeah, I feel like CBS airs a lot of those specials even till this day.
Well, Disney ABC seems to have the hold on a lot of them now because of the whole 25 Days of Christmas thing.
Oh, that is true. Didn't think of that.
But CBS still has some rights to a handful.
I feel like they air the Rudolph special and Frosty.
Yeah, they still they have Rudolph and Frosty, and then Disney has all the sequels. And
are young children these days interested in these older cartoons?
I don't know. The only young children I'm ever around is a 3-year-old.
Is he interested in classic cartoons?
No, all he wants to watch is Blaze and the Monster Machine.
Which
is a Nick Jr. thing. And basically, Kat binge watched 3 episodes this morning with him.
Is it all CGI animation?
Yeah.
I hear that's what kids are really into now. So they see this old style animation and it confuses them.
I tried to get him to watch The Little Mermaid. He would not sit and watch more than a minute.
I have a feeling that within the next 20 years, probably even the next 10 years, we're going to see remakes of a lot of the classic Disney movies, but they're going to be CGI-ified.
Yeah. Because I can put Frozen on, and that boy is glued to the screen.
But you get this cell animation, the 2D, and children these days are like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, he won't watch The Land Before Time, he won't watch The Little Mermaid, he'll watch The Brave Little Toaster, but only because he's obsessed with the vacuum.
Okay.
Listen, I get lectures about how a vacuum works from him and the different parts for like 45 minutes.
Animation was really different back then. Like the way the characters moved, they weren't really fluid-like. The backgrounds were very still, and even the characters kind of were very stiff, like almost in the way that South Park is purposely done.
They see all the fancy high-tech stuff and they don't care about the real art. Watch us get a comment on that one. Oh my gosh, I can be bitchy.
This is America, Charlie Brown was something that you would probably watch in school.
Oh yeah, this is totally the kind of thing like your third grade teacher would have on video cassette and be like, when the substitute had to come in, be like, make them watch this one.
See, I have a feeling that we might have watched this particular episode, the Constitution episode, in like a social studies class, maybe in 4th or 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember specifically if it was this or not.
I mean, can we be real? There's really not that many cartoons about the Constitution.
We did in 8th grade. I had a government class or history class of some sort, and my teacher made us watch the Schoolhouse Rocks, which have the songs, because we had to learn the preamble and we had to get up in front of the class and recite it.
Really?
And one of the teacher's mnemonic devices, in order for us to remember it, is he just made us watch that music video of the Constitution probably about 30 times in the course of a day or two.
Just so you guys would just absorb it and remember it.
They put it to music, and it was late 70s, mid to late 70s era. So it kind of had a Joni Mitchell kind of vibe to it from what I remember. Just that laid back, post-hippie, post-Woodstock style music.
Yeah.
Little like acoustic guitar and harmony. Almost reminds me of that Coke commercial, I would like to buy the world of Coke.
You mean the one Don Draper totally came up with at the meditation retreat? Spoiler alert, hashtag.
If only that were really true. All right, so the birth of a constitution. One thing that I noticed is, and actually I believe it happened a lot with this series of Peanuts cartoons, you actually saw the adult characters.
Yes, you actually get to see them in full view, and it's because they're historical figures.
And they didn't have that wonky voice.
Yeah, they all had actual voices. You actually heard, like, you heard George Washington, you heard Madison, you heard Schaefer, or whoever.
The whole Constitution crew.
Yeah.
Now,
Ben Franklin shows up.
Oh yeah, he has his cameo.
He's here for a kite.
So, the Constitutional Convention, it lasted several months. It went from May until September of like 1786 or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. I forgot to write down dates.
That's how long this episode felt. This was probably about 25 minutes, and it just seemed like it was really long. I watched this on YouTube, and I kept checking the timestamp just to see how much of this was left.
Mm-hmm.
And when it got down to less than 10 minutes, I felt every one of those seconds. I don't know how you felt. Because it wasn't a very entertaining episode.
Yeah, it was very kind of heavy on the actual historical information.
Which I guess is what it was trying to accomplish.
Yeah.
But they would break up the history with little skits, kind of.
You mean like Charlie Brown trying to invent sports and Lucy telling him no?
Yes, I don't understand why they decided to shoehorn in these little segments in between historical facts.
Okay, hello, it's so that Charlie Brown can try and hit the football and Lucy can take it away.
That's what it was leading up to, but I don't know why they had to choose this particular episode to try this, because I believe all those sports weren't invented until like the 20th century.
But yeah, it was a little weird.
And there was another skit too. All of a sudden, it's late at night, and Ben Franklin shows up at Charlie Brown's house.
Charlie Brown.
And asking if he had a kite.
Yeah. He's like, I'll return it when I'm done. I'm like, Charlie Brown, you don't want that kite back when it's done.
Because he wanted to take advantage of the horrible weather that was happening outside, because he was doing his famous experiment where he ties a key to the end of a kite and has lightning hit it. the father. They call him the father of electricity, don't they?
Yeah, isn't that how he discovered electricity, the electric current?
Yes. I'm surprised he did not die.
Ben Franklin, he was a hardcore baller, man.
He was. He was a smart man. He knew his shit. He signed documents. He wrote an amazing autobiography. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to read it.
I haven't.
It's free on Amazon. You can get it on your Kindle for free. I would recommend it.
Did he talk about his air baths?
His air bath?
Yeah, he didn't think that water cleaned you. He thought the air would clean you enough, so he would like open all his windows and doors in his house and stand in the middle naked so the wind would clean him.
That is probably... Well, first of all, that's disgusting.
It is.
But
that's one of the few things I remember from my high school U.S. history class.
Someone can be a super genius, but there's always one weird flaw to them.
Yeah.
They think they know the answer to this, but they obviously had it wrong. And this is Ben Franklin's flaw.
Sorry, Benny.
If you can find another flaw of Ben Franklin, do reach out to us and let us know. And we'll include it in a future episode.
Just tweet us at @VeryPodcast.
Hashtag Ben Franklin is not a genius. Let's get back to the, I guess, why the Peanuts gang are in the Constitutional Convention.
They're doing all the work. They're doing all the labor to make this place, like, livable, I guess is the way to put it.
So they are away from home, and they are living unsupervised.
Well, I think some of them are away from home, and some of them, like, live in Philadelphia.
Like, Charlie Brown and Snoopy and Woodstock, they seem like they run some kind
And
of...
Linus.
And Linus, they run some kind of business in Philadelphia.
So all I know is there's always a turkey or a chicken or something cooking on that fire.
Yeah, they have the little fireplace, and there's that little spit rod, and there's just some dead animal swirling around on it. And then...
And Snoopy has to run on this treadmill-like thing to keep it turning.
Yes, so Snoopy's running on the treadmill, and I believe Woodstock's jumping on some kind of, like, fan thing, those old accordion-style fans that blow air.
Yeah, those things that old fireplaces have that I've never known the name of.
The flame fanner?
Something, I don't know.
And Charlie Brown is just, like, a supervisor in this madness.
No, he's not. Charlie Brown was doing a ton of work.
Like what? What kind of work was
Charlie Brown had to do all those chores before they left to go to the convention.
Charlie Brown was thinking of sports to make up. That is really what he was doing.
Okay, if you say so, Patrick.
He reminded me of... You always say the story about how, like, Quentin Tarantino wrote his first script while he was working at, like, a record store in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
That's Charlie Brown. He was inventing sports.
Oh my god, Patrick.
Well, why is Charlie Brown not running on the treadmill? Why does he have the dog doing it all day?
Because the dog needs to run.
Not all day. Charlie Brown is, like, pretty stocky himself.
Well, maybe Charlie Brown has to do other stuff that the dog can't do. Like, actually deal with, like, whatever people he has to interact with.
Like, he's kind of like the customer service manager, maybe?
Yeah.
Or whatever form of customer service manager, whatever they called them in 1786.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Proprietor.
The proprietor.
And down at the convention house, Linus was in charge there. He was kind of the boss.
Yes, okay. I've got a fun fact about Linus in this.
Okay.
Do you want to know who did his voice?
Who did Linus's voice?
Jeremy Miller, a.k.a. Ben Seaver from Growing Pains.
No way, really?
It's just so random. For some reason, it's like just this episode.
Well, the voice cast, I think, changed a lot over the years and from special to special.
Like, the other specials all had, like, the same voice actors except for this one.
I wonder if maybe the real Linus... Did he come back for other specials after this?
Yeah, I think so. But for some reason, this one was Jeremy Miller, a.k.a. Ben Seaver.
Maybe the real Linus had laryngitis, and they were on a tight deadline to get this out.
They're all like, somebody call Jeremy Miller, that kid from Growing Pains. He'll do the voice. He'll work.
Well, Growing Pains was probably on the air at this time.
Yeah, it was.
Maybe the producer, like, was just laying on his couch one afternoon or one evening. His eyes were closed. Growing Pains was playing in the background. He's stressed out because Linus has laryngitis, and he hears that voice, and he's like, oh, that sounds like Linus. He's like, get me this boy. Find me this boy.
Fun fact, Jeremy Miller has a Twitter account now.
Does he? What is it? Do we know what it is?
It is Mr. Jeremy J. Miller.
Does he have the blue check mark?
No, he does not.
I did not think so.
But it links to his website.
I always wonder, because there's a weird consistency of celebrities with and without blue check marks.
Yeah. Like, if you're on something now, like, you'll get the blue check mark. But if you were, like, famous for something, like, 15, 20 years ago or more, and you're not, like, still hustling in the business, you don't get the blue check mark.
Like, Tawny Katane, the woman who slithered across Whitesnake's car in the Here I Go Again on My Own music video, she does not have a blue check mark. I feel like she should. But someone who is like an editor at Jezebel.com will get a blue check mark.
Yeah, why the heck do these yahoos over at BuzzFeed get a blue check mark? But Jeremy Miller doesn't have one? Come on now.
Jeremy Miller shaped our lives. All that BuzzFeed is doing is just reminding us of them.
Yeah. Or their stupid listicles.
Listicles had its purpose at one point in time.
I'd rather a listicle than a slideshow.
Oh, slideshows on mobile devices.
Oh my god, are the worst.
Are a sin. They're...
Like, just say no. Say no to slideshows 2016.
There's a special place in hell for whoever invented the media slideshow.
Like, they serve a purpose, like, back in the day, but now it's just clickbait.
Well,
click, click, click.
They make it hard to find the next button because there'll be an arrow, but it's really like an ad. It's just to bring up an ad, or it pops up like skincare tips or something.
Yeah. And they'll be like, you'll have like half a sentence and you have to click to the next picture to read the rest of the sentence.
Yeah, they split up the sentence.
Yeah. And you're like, damn it, I just wanted to know 10 facts about the cast of Growing Pains.
Like, where are they now? It's always like a where are they now? What do these people look like now?
Yeah, or like 15 random facts about the cast Full House.
Is there anything else from this episode of Charlie Brown? Because I feel like we covered it, right?
I think we got... I mean, what the episode is really just breaking down is how the Continental Congress went about trying to ratify the Constitution and create the different branches of our government, and it wasn't easy because everybody had an opinion. You had to kind of go with majority on this stuff.
And some of the states were being annoying and just did not want to pass.
Well, like, if you're like a small state and, you know, your state only has like 1,000 people compared to another state that has 10,000, you don't want there to be an imbalance of power.
Yes, I believe Linus summed it up very geniusly for us. Exactly what you had just said. So he has come far from a thumb-sucking, blankie-carrying twerp. He is now educating the Peanuts gang. Well,
yeah, because Linus got to, like, sit in and listen to, like, all the debates and stuff about what was going on. While everybody else had to, like, either fill inkwells or watch the horses or get water or sweep or mop. Linus is just in there chilling, listening to, like, these men who get to figure out our country.
Yeah, like Peppermint Patty had to carry buckets of water so the members of Congress would not thirst to death because it was so hot. It was the middle of summer. They didn't have AC, obviously. They wore stuffy clothing. Like, they didn't hear of, like, flip-flops and, like, a thin shirt. Instead, they came dressed in these, like, in fully garbed, sitting in some danky Congress hall.
But, like, I want to say the curtains are, like, drawn and it's dark and just hot and stuffy. And there's a bunch of sweaty men in there. Ugh.
And plus you have Ben Franklin probably airing out in there, too. In the flesh.
Well, think about it. They didn't bathe the way we do now.
They probably only bathed, like, once a week, because you probably had to fill up...
You have to, like, heat the water. You gotta fill up the tub.
Who knows what they actually cleaned themselves with. They probably just kind of, like, soaked in their own filth for hours on end.
Yeah. It's not like today where you just, like, go into the bathroom, turn on the shower, strip down, and, like, take 15-minute shower, and you're done.
And dance to an 80s song.
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's what I'm doing when I'm in the shower.
Or make sure your hair color doesn't bleed.
For some reason, whenever I'm in the shower, I'm walking on sunshine is always in my head for some reason. Whenever I get in the shower.
The song that comes in my head is I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair. I'm gonna wash that man right out of my hair and send him on his way. From South Pacific.
That was very bizarre. That's even more bizarre than Katrina and the Waves. Is that who sings that song?
Yeah, that's who sings Walking on Sunshine.
That is my favorite opening to a movie. I feel like there's a lot of movies that open to that song.
I think there are, because it's just like this happy, cheerful song.
And unfortunately, this gang in the 1700s did not have that luxury of modern
No, they
plumbing.
did not.
So they had to deal with Ben Franklin's crazy ideas that the oxygen around us will cleanse us.
Exactly.
Any last minute thoughts on This Is America, Charlie Brown?
It's a nice, cute little cartoon to teach kids about the Constitution, if you can get them to sit through the old school animation.
Yes. I'm sorry that this episode was born, but we watched it. We committed to the idea of it. They all can't be winners. They all can't be Dance Till Dawns.
No, they can't.
Every now and then you're going to get a Monsters Today or a This Is America, Charlie Brown. What is your favorite Peanuts cartoon?
Gosh. Actually, I think it would probably be Charlie Brown's Thanksgiving.
It's not the Mayflower Voyage one, correct?
No, not the Mayflower one.
There's a separate Thanksgiving Charlie
There's a
Brown,
separate Thanksgiving one.
I don't actually remember too much of it. I know I've seen it.
Really? Okay, it's on YouTube. You can find it on YouTube and watch it. Because that's usually where I watch it like 5 times a year.
Maybe we will release it for our Thanksgiving episode this year.
Maybe.
I always liked... There was one that Snoopy ran away. Do you remember that one?
Yes, the Snoopy Come Home. That's like a full movie.
Yeah, it's a long one, right?
Yeah, that's like a long one. There's also You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown.
That one, Snoopy Come Home, that one made me cry. Especially when Snoopy was on his own and he just wanted to go into a restaurant, but dogs were not allowed anywhere.
Oh, poor Snoopy.
And then he just wanted to go home, but he could not find his way home.
Yeah.
And then there was another one that actually used to scare the hell out of me. It was one where I think they went camping. The Peanuts gang goes camping, and they're like rafting or they're kind of like boating down a little river, and then there's a waterfall at the end.
Oh, I've seen that one. I saw that one once, and it kind of freaked me out, yeah.
I have had this for a long time. I had this irrational fear of waterways because I just always thought there was going to be a waterfall. Like, waterfalls, just for some reason, was this huge, huge thing to me. Like, I would, there was a lot of campgrounds in New Hampshire and stuff that we used to go to.
Yeah.
And you would get in, like, a little, like, floaty raft kind of thing. And then, like, you go around a corner, I'm like, fuck, there's going to be a waterfall up here. I know it.
Waterfalls in quicksand were made to seem like they were far more prevalent for our daily lives when we were kids watching cartoons than they really are.
Oh, yeah. Like, there's a lot of movies that involve jungles. Like, jungles I was afraid of, too.
Well, yeah. Jungles are terrifying.
They would be in a jungle, and the characters would always find themselves in water, like some kind of flowing river. Mm-hmm. And it seemed like everything is all fine and dandy. Then you find out 500 feet down, there is a waterfall. And then it always seemed like it took forever for these people to get to the waterfall. Mm-hmm. And then they would, like, find, like, a rock. There would always be, like, a branch or some kind of, like, rock.
There's always, like, a branch or a rock or something for them to hold on to. But so you hold on to that. How the heck do you still get out? Because the water's still going towards the waterfall.
And then, well, someone is always going to be nearby that can throw a rope or something at you.
Oh, yeah, there's always that person who just happens to be nearby ready to save you.
Well, there's always a damsel in distress. Like, some woman falls into the water, and, like, the hero, he's fighting the bad guy, and he finally finishes fighting the bad guy, and then he looks over out of the corner of his eye, and he sees the damsel in distress floating down the waterway, and just, like, her dress gets caught on the branch that sticks out of the water. Like, what is this branch connected to?
Yeah, what is this branch connected to? Where did it come from?
Is there just a tree that is growing out of the water?
There could be, yeah. I mean, I've seen trees growing out of water and stuff.
Yeah, I guess you're right, but it's just so, like, on the edge of the waterfall, though. Like, it didn't fall over from the force of
I don't know.
flowing water.
I don't know.
Who knows? But I learned to love waterfalls again once TLC made us feel safe.
By saying don't go chasing waterfalls. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you know.
TLC made a great music video where they were CGI animated creatures singing it in the ocean near a waterfall. And I said, you know what? Waterfalls aren't that bad. We just don't want to go chasing them.
No, we don't.
And that's what we did. So our next episode should be pretty interesting, I think.
Which is the next episode?
Murder, She Wrote.
Murder, She Wrote.
So join us next week when we watch a late... Well, actually, it's like mid-series. It's a season...
Yeah, I think we went like right for the middle of the series.
Yeah, so Murder, She Wrote was on for like 400 years.
Yeah.
And we chose a season 7 episode, which is in like the first quarter century of the first 100 years of Murder, She Wrote. So join us next week when we try to figure out who done it. And as always...
Bye!
Until next time.